Hey everyone, welcome to the Read Well podcast. This is Eddy, and I want to do a quick rant today or a question about the concept of reading and if it will save you or not. I'm reading Anna Karenina by Tolstoy right now, and it's this incredible book. And I don't want to, no spoilers, okay? But the question today is, will reading save you? Is it enough to read all of these great books? Because I could sit in here all day and spend time with these books, and they fill me up and they make me happy. But is that enough? Am I missing something by only reading the books? So I'll tell you the story from Anna Karenina without spoilers, and then we'll answer the question according to Tolstoy's argument. So in the book, there's this really great couple. They're recently married. The husband's name is Levin, and she is called Kitty. Now, Levin's brother is dying. He is not doing well. He's off, sort of holed up in a hotel room in the big city. And Levin lives out sort of on a farm with his new wife. And he has to go to the city because he knows his brother's dying. And Kitty, bless her soul, really wants to go with him. She wants to be the supportive wife and be there to help. Levin does not want this. In fact, he's pretty rude to her in trying to keep her at home. Now, that's sort of out of character for Levin. He's a pretty good guy for the most part. And so when he's sort of digging at her, telling her that she's just going to get in the way, she's going to make everything emotional and like complicated, and that shouldn't be how this is. It's kind of hard to read, to be honest. But what we don't know is that Levin's brother, who's again dying of consumption, is in this dirty, nasty hotel, and he's lived sort of a seedy life, right? He has prostitutes around and those sorts of things. In reality, Levin doesn't want his beautiful new bride in such a seedy, sort of disgusting place. He should just tell her that. I don't know why he doesn't, but he sort of just hurts her feelings. And what I love about Kitty is she stands up for herself and she's like, I'm going to help you. You need me. So he ends up dragging her out of the farm to the city, and they go to this horrible hotel room. Now, here's why this is interesting, because Levin is a learned guy. He loves books. He loves to read philosophy books. I'm pointing up here because these are all my philosophy books. And it got me thinking, I love philosophy too. I'm getting a degree in it. It's what I love to study. And it makes me feel like I'm learning something useful and intellectual, which, I don't know, take that for what it is, right? But Levin has spent a lot of time studying the topic of death, which is a major theme in philosophy and in many nonfiction books. And so he feels pretty prepared for this situation. He's scared. He doesn't want to lose his brother, but he feels like he's got things under control and he doesn't need his wife. Kitty, on the other hand, has not read any of these books, right? She is not a learned person. She's a sweet girl. She comes from a very wealthy family. And she just doesn't know the concept of this, at least according to Levin. Now, here's the best part. When they show up to the hotel room and they go through the sort of the rigmarole of getting, booked into their room, they finally go down and visit his brother. And when they enter the room, Levin goes in first without his wife. And because he doesn't want his wife in there, right? He leaves her in her hotel room. He goes in to see his brother who's dying of consumption, and he is completely useless in this situation. He panics, he freaks out because the room smells awful. It's like excrement everywhere, and there's just nasty, like his brother's like frail and bony and like just terrifying to look at. He's covered in bed sores. He is on the brink of horrific death, right? And so Levin is standing there looking at the person that he loves, his brother, who doesn't know what to do. All of his learning and his knowledge has not prepared him for how to live well in the moment, right? That, first of all, hit me pretty hard because as much as I love books and I love to read, there's a part of my community, I have a motto that I teach, which is to read slowly, take notes, and apply the ideas, because if we don't apply the ideas of the books we read, we're going to end up like Levin. We're going to be in critical situations in our life where our knowledge will not serve us because we haven't up to that point used it and used it and used it. We've just sat in our libraries reading books, right? Okay, now comes Kitty. So the brother is who's dying says, hey, I heard you brought your wife. I want to meet her. He hasn't met her yet because he's been in his deathbed. And so he encourages Levin to bring the wife in against Levin's wishes. Levin doesn't want her in there. There's a prostitute. It's a mess, whatever. And Kitty is sort of this perfection. She's the state of perfection. She's gorgeous. She's pure. She dresses in like lacy thing. Like she is just clean. She's the epitome of cleanliness. He does not want her in there getting soiled mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? Kitty comes in and immediately knows what to do, immediately knows how to handle death, right? She runs over to this disgusting creature of a human who's covered in excrement and bed sores, and she begins to hug him and kiss him and love him and care for him and make him feel human again. And it is one of the most beautiful moments in fictional writing ever. It's so gorgeous. And as she sits there, she immediately goes to work at making the situation not only tolerable, but possibly even enjoyable. She starts ordering servants in the hotel room around to begin cleaning things. She's scrubbing floors. She's getting clothes washed and bed sheets changed. She's putting new clothes on him. She's cleaning his sores. She is sort of propping his, like fluffing up his pillows, making him comfortable. She's getting food down him, which hasn't happened in a long time. All this stuff is happening because Kitty instinctively knows how to handle death, and she shouldn't, right? She's never experienced. Well, that's not true. Before this event, she sort of worked in a sort of a facility out of I was gonna say out of state, but like in foreign lands, where she was helping other people who were sick, and she learned through experience how to handle sick people and how to handle death and how to treat people like human beings. So Kitty came to this situation with real world experience and was able to apply that immediately to help Levin's brother feel whole and feel loved. Whereas Levin had no experience. He'd only read about the philosophical concepts of death and completely fell apart and hid in the corner of the room like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to handle this. And in the end of this little section of story, he turns to Kitty and he's like, I am really glad you came. I had no idea, but I'm so glad that you're here. And that is sort of Tolstoy's argument about why books, although they are gorgeous and beautiful and wonderful, are not enough. Reading will not save us. I mean, since the beginning of time, we have been using story to teach our descendants how to be better humans. That's why we're writing books. That's why we wrote pictures on the wall, hieroglyphics, to tell people who we were and what we learned so that you can learn from us. I think that's the gorgeous thing about novels and stories. They help us learn what it means to be human. But look, if we don't actually take those lessons and apply them, we are missing the point of reading. And it's a little rant here. It's the end of the year. I'm filming this on December 28th. And because of what I do with the YouTube channel and the podcast, I get a lot of emails almost daily now where people are sharing their reading goals with me. First of all, I love you for having reading goals and for being in the community, but I want to challenge you because a lot of the goals that I'm hearing about are quantity of book related. So for example, my goal in 2025, next year, is to read 100 books. And I when I read that, I think, why? Like, why did you pick 100 books? Because it's a nice round number and it's a big number. So maybe when you're done, you'll feel like you've accomplished something great or hard. I get that. And I'm not at all sort of being judgmental about that. I just want to challenge the idea. Because what would happen to you if at the end of 2025, after reading 100 books, I mean, that's 25 books a quarter. That's 25 books every 3 months. You're cranking on those books. You're really moving through it. In fact, I'm gonna post a video at the end of this relating a discussion I had with Dr. Marty Jacobson about his goal to read 100 books in a year, and how that went for him and how it really affected him and how he hated it. It didn't work out well for him because it became more about reading books in order to achieve the number 100 rather than reading these books well. So instead of doing that, what if you were to read one book well? Call it Anna Karenina. And you really dug in this year and you got to know Levin and Kitty and all of the other cast of characters. And you learned lessons from that and you went out and applied it. Just a thought, just an idea. But consider doing that this year, just reading something well rather than setting up a huge list of books that you feel you need to read in order to feel a sense of self-worth. So look, if you like this video today, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm really trying to grow the channel here. And again, I'll post the video right here with my discussion with Dr. Jacobson related to his 100 book reading goal. And yeah, I agree with Tolstoy. I don't think reading's enough. I don't think it's gonna save us. We actually need to read slowly, take notes, and apply the ideas. All right, see you all next time.